Welcome back to Views with Hughes, agenda-free news. This is Jerome Hughes. Now, let's go ahead and get right into it. So today I have a big, and I mean big Star Wars rumor to talk about. And you see, Kathleen Kennedy has been running Lucasfilm for years now, and we've all seen the results. Divisive movies, fractured fan bases, and a franchise in need of serious help under Kathleen Kennedy. And under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership, Star Wars has struggled, but Jon Favreau, on the other hand, is here to fix what Kathleen Kennedy has broken. Yes, Jon Favreau, the man who revived The Mandalorian, is stepping in to steer Star Wars back on course, despite Kathleen Kennedy's consistent mishandling of the franchise. Now, remember, this is a rumor, so be sure to take it with a huge heap of salt. Now, this information comes from a trusted or a Disney insider. While we've had endless rumors of Kathleen Kennedy's leadership, this one stands out because it seems to represent a shift away from Kathleen Kennedy's flawed vision. And this it's not just more speculation on Kathleen Kennedy's watch. It's a solid direction, it seems, for Star Wars, and it's coming straight from the Lucasfilm offices. Now, Kathleen Kennedy may still hold the title of president, but Jon Favreau seems to be taking charge where Kathleen Kennedy has failed repeatedly. Now, remember, I have shared a video about this, about somebody who may be replacing Kathleen Kennedy. But just remember, all these are rumors on all fronts. This particular rumor, I'm also not sure if it's true or anything. I'm not going to have you all to have hope under this, especially with, the replacement for Kathleen Kennedy, as well as the plans to further ruin or kill Star Wars and everything. But at the same time, I'm reporting on this so that way y'all can have something in the back of your minds to go ahead and keep in mind. So basically, according to this Disney insider, Jon Favreau has been talking openly in the Lucasfilm offices about the future Star Wars. And guess what? Despite Kathleen Kennedy, her failed direction, Favreau is planning to bring in the character Cal Kestis, a character who has been a fan favorite for years. And Kathleen Kennedy, for whatever reason, never moved to include Cal Kestis in the live-action universe, especially in Ahsoka. But now, under Favreau's guidance and likely against Kathleen Kennedy and her wishes, Cal Kestis will make his debut in the second half of Ahsoka Season 2. And this is the kind of decision that Kathleen Kennedy should have made years ago, but you all know how Kathleen Kennedy is. She believes that the Force is female. Okay, she wants more women in Star Wars and stuff, so that way she can go ahead and close it with the get the DEI money, as well as bring in the feminist agenda. And this didn't leave Jon Favreau to pick up the pieces. Okay, now what's the storyline that's going to bring Cal Kestis into live action? A move that Kathleen Kennedy could have overseen but never did. Well, according to this Disney insider, Favreau is planning to have Cal Kestis to go on in an artifact hunt with his night sister partner Merrin. And this is exactly the kind of character-driven story that Kathleen Kennedy has failed to deliver during her tenure. Now, the inclusion of Cal and Merrin not only satisfies a huge fan base, but also ties directly to Ahsoka, a show that has been somehow managed to exist under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership without the kind of cohesion we should expect from Star Wars. Now, thankfully, Favreau seems to understand this, and while Kathleen Kennedy continues to overlook these critical details. But it's no surprise since everything. This is Kathleen Kennedy we were talking about. But the plan, according to this Disney insider, is to start working on the storyline after the Mando and Grogu movie is finished and the third Jedi Fallen Order game is done. Now, that means we probably won't see Cal in Ahsoka until 2026, which may seem far off, but honestly, considering Kathleen Kennedy and her rush to push out inferior products like The Rise of Skywalker, a lot of people are rather willing to just have them take their time. But Kathleen Kennedy's hurried approach has left a trail of mediocre content, but Favreau is looking to change that. And see, this long-term planning is something that Kathleen Kennedy should have been doing from the start, but didn't. And that's why Jon Favreau has to come in and clean up the mess. But what's even more interesting is that the Disney insider suggests that Cal's appearance is being strategically timed in support of the next Jedi game. Again, this rumor is the kind of synergy that Kathleen Kennedy has ignored during her leadership, and Kathleen Kennedy could have capitalized on these opportunities to link game shows and movies, but she didn't. You see, Favreau, however, seems to understand that what Kathleen Kennedy has missed for years, which is the importance of connecting all parts of the Star Wars universe. But There's also more news and rumors regarding Ahsoka season 2. Now, according to this Disney Insider, this season is going to be a swan song for the Rebels characters. Yes, Kathleen Kennedy's regime may have kept these characters alive on TV for a while, but it looks like Favreau is shifting focus away from them. Now, after season 2, the Rebels characters will be used only in movies. Now, Kathleen Kennedy's failure to develop these characters further on the big screen is apparent here. And as Jon Favreau seems ready to take them where Kathleen Kennedy never could, okay? And to a number of Star Wars fans, this may be good. Now, many fans of Rebels might be sad to see these characters take a step back from TV, but Jon Favreau reportedly told Dave Filoni it's time to move away from the characters developed under Kathleen Kennedy's regime, or most likely Kathleen Kennedy's regime altogether. And honestly, this makes sense. Now, while Kathleen Kennedy may have greenlit these characters, they are still a part of her era, an era that Jon Favreau is trying to move past. Kathleen Kennedy's attachment to these characters have likely held them back, and it's time for a post-Kathleen Kennedy era to begin, according to this particular rumor. Now, Filoni, being the company man he is, as well as Kathleen Kennedy minion he is, won't likely create any drama, and he's been surviving under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership for years. And if he can transition these rebels characters to the big screen under Jon Favreau's guidance, it's a decent trade-off. Now, Kathleen Kennedy and characters overstaying their welcome on TV is something that Jon Favreau is pushing to fix by pushing forward with new, bold ideas, something that Kathleen Kennedy has often resisted. But what is the bigger plan here? Okay, you see, this Disney Insider suggests that the strategy going forward is for older characters to stick around just for long enough to establish the new TV characters before they transition into the movies. Now, this feels like a calculated move that Kathleen Kennedy should have thought about but never did. Now, Kathleen Kennedy's mishandling of the character development is being corrected by Jon Favreau, who sees the value in these legacy characters, without letting them go ahead and just overshadow, the new ones. Now, this move signals a real departure from the Kathleen Kennedy era and how she failed to plan for the future. And speaking of new characters and fresh ideas, Favreau is also working on, something that Kathleen Kennedy's leadership has never been able to achieve, which is indeed a connected universe where old and new characters meet in a cohesive, exciting way. Now, the next big project after the Mando movie is a Thrawn movie. Okay, apparently this is where things get interesting. The Disney Insider says that Jon Favreau's Thrawn movie is going to be like an Avengers-style event, bringing together old, new, and even future characters. Now, this is the kind of grand vision that, Kathleen Kennedy should have had, but never did. And Favreau is looking to build what could be the defining moment for Star Wars, and it's happening because, Kathleen Kennedy's and her influence is finally fading. Now, I'm not sure if there's much truth to this, as well as how many fans will actually enjoy this particular, rendition of Star Wars. Because remember, a lot of Star Wars fans out there aren't really familiar with the books, the comics, so on and so forth. And it may be hard to go ahead and reel them in and stuff. But we'll see if this rumor is even true in the first place. But Favreau has reportedly used the term post-Kathleen Kennedy era around the office, signaling to Lucasfilm employees that change is coming. And this isn't just about one movie. It's about undoing the damage that Kathleen Kennedy has done to the franchise for the past decade. Now, it's possible he could be working to do this, but from what I've seen, the damage has already been done and may not be able to be reversed. But on the other hand, Favreau seems to be creating a new era of storytelling that brings Star Wars back to its roots, something that Kathleen Kennedy moved away from with her decisions. Now, this is the future fans have been waiting for, a future that looks brighter without Kathleen Kennedy at the helm. Now, before we do wrap up with this, let's touch on one last thing. According to the Disney Insider, there's a new Rogue Squadron script floating around, and this script is described as more Iron Eagle in space than previous versions. See, with Wedge Antilles as the mentor pilot. Now, this sounds like the kind of character-driven story that Kathleen Kennedy has also been incapable of delivering. You see, Kathleen Kennedy's previous attempts at reviving Rogue Squadron went nowhere, but under Jon Favreau's leadership, this project could finally get the respect that it deserves. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds like the kind of Star Wars movie that a lot of people have been missing, that we've been missing. And Wedge Antilles is one of those characters Kathleen Kennedy never gave enough attention to, and now under Favreau, he's finally getting his due. And this feels like the kind of bold storytelling that Kathleen Kennedy and her leadership has lacked, and it's something that fans have been waiting for. Okay, so where does this all leave us? Well, it leaves many of us with hope. First and foremost, for years now, Kathleen Kennedy has led Star Wars astray, and we've all seen the consequences. But now, with Favreau at the helm, or possibly at the helm, Star Wars looks like it's heading toward a bright future. Now, John Favreau's vision for the post-Kennedy era, Kathleen Kennedy era, is taking shape with fan favorite characters like Cal Kestis, major events like the Thrawn movie, and exciting new ideas like Rogue Squadron finally getting the attention that they deserve. But at the same time, let's try not to get ahead of ourselves. You see, Kathleen Kennedy's mismanagement have left us burned before, and things can change. Still, if this Disney Insider's information is accurate, the next decade could be something special for Star Wars fans. Now, Kathleen Kennedy's failures might finally be behind us, and John Favreau is leading the charge into the new era as it seems, or we hope for. But we got a long road ahead. But for the first time in a long time, a lot of people are optimistic about where Star Wars is heading, and Jon Favreau's vision, combined with the incredible talent at Lucasfilm, well, I don't know about incredible, could bring us into a new era that finally moves past the disastrous Kathleen Kennedy era once and for all. Now, hoping for the resurrection of Star Wars and Kathleen Kennedy's failures after Kathleen Kennedy's failures may be a long shot for now, because at this point this franchise seems dead and everything, and we just have to see what will happen next. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to include any additional thoughts you may have this particular topic. If you enjoy what I shared in this video, go ahead, smash the like button, share far wide across social media. And if you haven't done so already, and you enjoyed all the content that I put out there, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notifications, so that way you'll be notified of future uploads and updates. Till then, peace.